Hey guys, it's Beth here with the Deer's Embroidery Legacy, and today I'm going to show you how to create your own personalized embroidered gnome wreath. Let's get started. So for this project, I've actually found everything from our local dollar store. I got a Santa hat frame. You can use any type of frame as long as it looks like a hat, a Santa hat, whatever color thread you want, some garland, a hot glue gun and glue sticks, some berries, white paint and a paintbrush, a USB drive, and I've already loaded our ESA font on there, some zip ties, a large ornament which we're going to use for the nose, some scissors, our embroidery hoop, and some cutaway stabilizer. So first we're going to customize our design and use one of our ESA fonts in our Hatch Wilcom software. So I'll show you how to do that next. Now that I've opened up my Hatch software, I've written in the text I want, which is bombers, and I'm using the ESA font called Falcon, which you can find on our Digitizing Made Easy site. I'm going to enlarge the text a bit and just move the letters over to where I want them so that they're closer together and they're connecting. Then I'm going to change my width to 4.80 inches because I've already determined what size I need for my Santa hat. Then I'm going to my stitching and change my underlay 1 underlay type to a double zigzag. And then I'm going to change underlay 2 to a double edge run. I'm going to then duplicate my text and move my second text above the first. And I'll just change that top text to the and adjust the spacing on it just to make sure it's a bit smaller and that the letters are connected properly. And after we're done that, we have our design all finished and ready to put on our gnome Santa hat. Next, we're going to take our Santa hat frame. I've actually grabbed this one from our local dollar store. They do have actual frames on Amazon, but they are pretty pricey. So I'm just kind of working with this. It's a little flimsy, which is actually perfect. So what I did here is I took off all this tinsel and I've just cut off some of the parts. So if you notice, I cut off this part here and I've cut off a little section down here because if I take my Santa hat and I slide it over, it actually fits perfect up here. So we're actually going to take the garland and we're going to wrap it around from the bottom frame here. So that's how we know where we're going to start from. So now that I know that my Santa hat fits great on my wreath frame, I'm actually going to take it off and we're going to hoop it. And now that we have the hat hooped, we're going to put it on the machine. Took my hoop off my machine, so now I'm going to take my Santa hat off and I'm going to turn my hat inside out and just cut away our stabilizer. Okay, so we already determined that the hat would go down to about there on our frame. So now we want to take our garland and we want to find that bottom part of where our hat was and start to connect them. So I'm just going to wrap that on there so it stays. And I'm just going to keep making rows on my frame. Now we've used up all of our garland. His beard's looking nice and full. You can add as much or little as you want. It's totally up to you. And I'm just going to cover a couple little pieces over here. What's nice about the wire is that it kind of sticks to where you put it. If there are some pieces that are hanging out that you want to make sure they stick, be sure to use your zip ties. It'll make sure that they stay. Next we'll take our hat, put it at the top here, and kind of position it where you want. So I think that looks pretty good there. You do want to make sure that the bottom of the hat covers the top of where the garland is. So I'm actually going to flip it to the back, and because there is some wire in the back as to where the wreath is, I'm going to actually just take my scissors and do a little cut where the wire is there. You don't want to cut the front, just make sure you cut the back. So we want to take our zip tie and put it under the bottom here, make sure that it's in the wreath so that it stays there, and you just want to make a bubble. So that'll make sure that your hat stays on there. It's not going anywhere. And you will want to add a couple more zip ties afterwards, depending on how high you want your wreath to be hung. So I'm just going to add 2 zip ties. I think that would look good. I'm thinking I should probably add a couple zip ties to the side just to make sure they stay in place there as well. So again, I'm just going to find the wreath under there, cut a little piece, cut a little piece on the other side, and do the same to the other side. Okay, so our hat is nice and secure, which is perfect. Next, we're going to bring out our glue gun. Okay, now we're on the home stretch. So we're going to take our large ornament. This is going to be for the nose. So I usually like to take off this little knob at the bottom. And I do want to hot glue gun it to the ornament. This is the part that we're going to be using with the zip tie. So we want to make sure it stays. So we're just going to let that dry for a second. Now that our ornament is dry, we're going to take one of our zip ties and put it through top there. Now, to put your ornament nose on, you want to put it close to the bottom of the hat and the top of the garland. So you can also use the back of the wreath frame to secure it to there. So I'm just going to zip tie that on. The nose is closer, I think, is where I want it to go. And tighten it. From there I can move the nose. And like that. Now, it's totally up to you. If you want to do some more zip ties in the back to make sure it's secure, that the hat won't blow away, you can do so. You can do it at the bottom here, attach it to the wreath frame, and you'll have no issues there. Next, we're going to take our berries. These, I'm just going to use some of the little small ones here. They're kind of like styrofoamy. Use as many or little as you want. We're going to just hot glue them onto the garland. You can kind of just place them anywhere. If you want, you can even get little snowflake embellishments, put those on there. Alright, and next we just take our white paint. I've got my spongy type brush, and I'm just going to dab it in there. Don't need too much. And you just want to lightly brush on in random spots to make it look like snow. Now that you're done with the paint, you're all finished your personalized gnome wreath. These are perfect for this holiday season. We'll see you next time.